Some questions in tests and in exams want you to discuss the implied meaning of a text or of certain things within a text. Now, how do we get to the implied meaning of something? It's actually a process that I'd like to discuss with you. Think for a moment about an actual rose. We have spoken about denotation, we've spoken about connotation. So the actual rose will have a literal or a denotative meaning or denotation, right? It is a flower, beautiful flower. Well, beautiful already has a connotation. It is a flower, and the thorns and the leaves and so forth. You can actually describe or define an actual rose, which then might have a figurative connotation. In other words, it stands for love, it stands for beauty, etc. Now, if you draw a picture of a rose, it becomes a sign, right? Let's say, for instance, you send somebody not the actual rose, but the picture of the rose. It is a sign and it represents the object. Now, what happens when you visit a shop and it's Valentine's Day and there is a card, and on the card there is a sign? In other words, the sign of the rose, in other words, the picture of the rose, which represents the object on the card. And you take that card, you send it to somebody on Valentine's Day. You are literally now sending this card, but with this card, together with this card, there is an implied meaning. And the implied meaning is that you wish the amorous attention of the other person. Isn't that so? Because you want to tell the person that you have an eye on that person, or you love the person, but it gives you information about the sender. Now, let's look at another example. For instance, when you buy a fridge or any machine of any kind, you normally get a contract upon the purchase. And there is an implied promise in the purchase, because the contract implies something. Now, what does it imply? It implies, it's going to tell you that it has a money back. It is your guarantee or your warranty, if you like. It's guaranteed, this item, this fridge, is guaranteed to work as expected if you use it correctly. You plug it in, if you use it properly. So the implied expectation, there's an implied promise there that you can bring it back if it's not working, and there is an implied expectation that this thing will work, this machine will work. Let's look at a few other examples. If you look, for instance, at general neutral facilities, as I said to you before, this is a sign, just like the picture of the rose would be the sign, right? Now, this sign is up against the wall. It says something. It has a literal meaning. With denotative and connotative meaning. So it says to us that it is gender inclusive. We can see that in the picture. That it's trans inclusive, that it is all gender. But together with that meaning, there is also an implied meaning, an implication, that you know that should you go inside that facility, you are going to find all genders inside. You're going to expect all genders inside. And there is even a deeper assumption after that, namely that this facility, this place, has gender equality. They believe in gender equality. They don't have facilities for men and facilities for women. They promote gender equality. So can you see the implied meanings underneath the literal that we see? To give you another example, here is one, and it says all gender. Now, here we've got, as I say, explicitly saying female, male, then we've got transgender, we've got people in wheelchairs, and we've got people looking after children. So what is this telling us? It is telling us that all these people are welcome here. If you want to um, change your baby, you can do it here. And it doesn't matter if you're the caregiver and you're a trans person, it doesn't matter. You can go in there because you are welcome. If you are a male person looking after a female baby, for instance, and you want to change the baby, you are welcome. All these people are welcome. You're also welcome if you're in a wheelchair, for instance. So underneath all of this, we can read quite a lot of implied ideas or implied situations. In other words, firstly, that there has been a change in bathroom regulation and identification. Somebody might see this kind of sign for the first time and say, wow, this is different. I'm not used to this kind of sign. I'm used to male, female. It might be an older person thinking, ooh, but am I safe going in here? You see? So it implies that there's been a change in the bathroom regulations and that you now have to specify precisely who's welcome in the facility. And it's also implied that transgender is and fluid. Those are welcome. And gender non-conforming individuals, those are all welcome. In other words, if you choose to go inside that facility, you must understand that you are going there and it's decided, and you will find people of very different orientations inside there. So you either stay outside or you go inside, but that is what this facility stands for. So, and also the children and disabled that are cared for by different genders, right? If think about it, if it's just male and you are looking after a female, also, no, wait a minute, you are looking after a female, you won't be able to take the female into a male facility, but you can do that kind of switch thing here. I mean, you can go in there, a male person looking after a female, taking the person to the bathroom. It's all fine in this facility. So all of those things are implied in the sign. So furthermore, it is what is implied is that they believe, these people believe in a positive, a welcoming, non-discriminatory environment and atmosphere. So those are all things that we can infer from what we see. It's implied meaning. Just on a very common level, everyday level, we use this kind of implication every day. For instance, look at this sentence. If we say to somebody, he could get a job if he wanted one, we are saying the one thing and we are implying another. If he wanted one, so we are implying that he's not really trying very hard to get a job. He boasts big, but. So you are saying, well, he talks a lot about things, but and about what he can do, but we all know that he's not that great. So the implication is that he talks too much and he isn't really as good as he tries to make himself out to be. If you say he could do with a packet of mints, you probably mean that he's suffering of a case or a bad case of halitosis. That means bad breath. So you say something, but you imply something else. You haven't said it at all. You haven't said that he has bad breath, but you've implied it. So He isn't exactly an oil painting, is he? You are just suggesting, you are implying that this person is not very attractive, right? And then he was not a man with whom you would likely entrust your wife and daughter. So if you say that, you are implying that that person perhaps is a womanizer, is perhaps a pedophile, possibly. He is just somebody that's a bit dangerous around women. I would not really trust my wife um, or my daughter in his company if I'm not there. So you are suggesting, you are implying certain things about the person, that he is, as I say, either a womanizer or somebody that sort of can't keep his hands off women. So we are implying these things. Every day of our lives, we're doing it. So implied meanings simply means that you must look at what is implied under the actual, or in sort of written between the lines, um, of the actual thing that you're saying. You are implying something else. So that is the implication that you need to look at in questions, and that's what they want you to discuss. What has not been said but implied.